Thank you, Robin. Okay, great. So thank you for the introduction. I want to tell you a bit about Games for Change, what it's all about. We're a non-profit. We're based in New York. We have now chapters in Korea, Latin America, and Europe. And the idea behind Games for Change is that games can go beyond entertainment. So we are great believers in the idea that just like movies and books and TV before games, games is a medium, and as a medium it can address all issues, and it can address all tastes, and across genders, across ages, and you know, only I would say 10 people raise their hands when we ask who is a gamer. We believe that in 5, 10, 15 years, we won't even need to ask the question because everybody will be a gamer. You know, we're not saying people are film goers or theater watchers or TV watchers. Everybody is, right? Same would be with interactive media. To put it in context, I want to show you a short clip from ABC News. And it's like 3 minutes, and it shows a bit about Games for Change, a bit about our work.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is World News.
And Games for Change, the popular new video games designed to save the world. And coming up after a quick break, it sounds like a computer programmer's fantasy and a parent's fantasy as well. Video games that do good. Video games are often accused of wasting time or even promoting violence, but there are some popular new games that have a pretty lofty goal, saving the world. Here's ABC's Andrea Cannon.
Please, I'm your officer in charge for this World Food Program mission. Our job is to do an aerial assessment to get an accurate picture of the food crisis.
Your mission in the new video game Food Force? To save millions from starvation, the war-ravaged nation of Ceylon.
You can see there will be no harvest this year.
Ceylon may be fictitious, but its problems aren't. The video game has been downloaded 4 million times, and it's one of dozens of socially responsible games bringing issues like the environment and the Darfur crisis to your fingertips. Getting involved is part of the game.
Survival of the camp is also assisted by you spreading the word about the game and about Darfur.
Think of the concept as the opposite of the ultra-popular and ultra-violent Grand Theft Auto.
We think games have the potential to have a positive and powerful impact on society. Games are really good for exploring complex social issues.
And there's no issue more complex than the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So former Israeli intelligence officer Asi Burak created Peacemaker. Gamers can attempt to achieve Mideast peace by playing as the Israeli Prime Minister or the Palestinian President.
You can actually dive into a situation and make decisions. I mean, this is very, very powerful.
At this institute in Tel Aviv, they use Peacemaker to help Israeli and Palestinian teenagers understand the conflict better.
I played the Palestinian side, and suddenly I saw what is going on in their side.
The makers of these games say in the near future, the technology will allow them to take a breaking news event and turn it into a video game within 24 hours or less.
Okay, so now you know everything about Games for Change. Do you know who this woman is? No one? Yeah, who said it? Are you a fan? This is Kim Kardashian. She is the new type of world celebrities. A celebrity that is not necessarily a celebrity because she's acting great or she invented the new Apple, just because she's a celebrity. And she's very rich and arguably beautiful. And I never believed that I put her on my first slide. But I want to tell you a short story. I think that's a good way to begin this. The story is about her wedding. So not a long time ago, she announced that she's going to get married. And this became a huge media event. And she didn't spend a dime on this wedding. All sponsorships, media rights, free gifts, multi-million-dollar wedding, almost equal to the royal wedding in the UK. However, short time after, less than 3 months, she filed for divorce. And, you know, people felt cheated because multi-million-dollar went into it. Many people were following it like crazy. but it didn't work out. And let's talk about numbers. It lasted 72 days. The investment was almost $18 million, and just the ring itself was $2 million. Then many people that felt cheated started to respond and started to say things. Among them, Nick Kristof. Those of you who don't know, Nick Kristof is a Pulitzer Prize winner, an author, op-ed writer on the New York Times, and he became, in the last years, Mr. Social Change, highlighting things from Darfur to Egypt to Tunisia. And he said something very simple on his Twitter that has, by the way, more than 1.2 million followers. He said, you know, if Kim Kardashian, instead of investing all this money in a wedding that didn't even last 3 months, would take it and by his calculation build schools in the developing world, that would account for 200 new schools built. That was very provocative, even though it just shared a simple thought. And many of her fans started, you know, bashing, and there was a kind of responses from all over. And this is just one of the examples, saying, you know, what do you want from our life? You probably have a great high salary yourself. Why don't you build schools? But as a matter of fact, he did build a school. And this was his response. He just wanted to embody it. Not to mention that he dedicated his career, his writing career, to highlight issues all over the world and make the world a better place. There is a happy ending to the story. This is something I saw a few weeks ago. It's a retweet by Nick Kristof. So Kim Kardashian got the message. And she's actually visiting a school in Zambia, and she's trying to exercise some social responsibility. We're yet to see if it's a hobby or she's taking it, you know, further. But it's good news. I mean, she got the message, and this is a message Spider-Man got years ago because Uncle Ben said it to him. The idea that with great power comes great responsibility. And this is something that, it's a very simple message, almost a cliche, but to all of us, you know, people that are lucky, you know, we have our either talents, powers, superpowers, we have money, and there are people in the world that are less privileged and less lucky than we are, and we can, in sometimes very small ways, give back. How it's, you know, tying back to our context of product, services, technology, design, someone who articulated very well is Dr. Pollack. And what he said was basically that if you think about it, and CES is a great place to think about it, most of our design, most of the designers of our world are actually targeting 10% of the world's population. Only 10%. Everything we do, or the effort, or the investment. What about the other 90%? And the other 90% are people living mostly in the developing world, living on less than $10 a day. In terms of numbers, we're talking about 5.8 billion people. Almost half of them live on less than $2 a day. So they can't afford most of the gadgets you see here, and they can't afford most of the products and services that are being designed in the West. I want to tell you about one project that we're involved with called Half the Sky, that is really trying to a different approach. It's trying to go for those 90%, and it's trying to bring very talented media people, very talented storytellers to actually address those issues, and address them in a compelling, engaging way, in an entertainment way, and not just in a preachy, earnest way that this is not what we want to do. At the core of the project is the book by Nick Kristof that you saw earlier, and his wife Sharon Mudan. The book is called Half the Sky. It's a very successful non-fiction book. Right now it's the 22nd edition of the hardcover all over the world. And the book is around women and girls empowerment all over the world, across issues. Could be health, education, economic empowerment, sex trafficking, gender-based violence. And it was so successful that it actually started a movement. So now Half the Sky became, you know, kind of the flag and the banner for this movement for women and girls all over the world. And it also quickly became a transmedia project. By transmedia, I mean that you have more than one channel, one media outlet. You have a book now. There's going to be a TV show, primetime TV series. There's going to be the website, social media, and games. And we at Games for Change are working with Nick Christoph on the games. I don't know if you saw recently this week, there were a few appearances of Mashable and Fast Company talking about this thing. Let me start with the TV series so you know what to expect. That's going to air at the end of 2012. It's going to be 2 nights on PBS prime time, so altogether 4 hours. And the format is that Nick Christoph and Sherry went with celebrity leaders, celebrity women, all over the world, 11 countries. In this case, you see America Ferrera, there were Meg Ryan and Eva Mendes, and the idea is that in each country they highlighted another issue that is relevant, especially to girls in those countries. And the series also includes interviews with luminaries such as Hillary Clinton, the UN Secretary, but the whole idea of really bringing it to light. We're also making games. So how games are coming into that? The first project is a Facebook game. Facebook is a perfect platform for social change. It's around collaboration, it's around making progress because my friends are helping me, and it's about playing for 15, 20 minutes a day, but it could be for over a month or years. I mean, you can look at Farmville and Cityville. And the idea we have with the Facebook game is around those microtransactions. I don't know how many of you saw people play Facebook or play yourself, but it's a lot about buying those virtual goods. But all that money goes to the pockets of Zynga and Play-Doh and Disney and other companies. In our case, that money is going to NGOs on the ground. So if you build a school in the game, a real school is going to be built in the world. And if you buy a goat, the money will go to EFRA International that will donate a goat to a real family in Africa, and it could make a huge financial difference for them. We're also making mobile games. So unlike the Facebook game that goes and kind of talking to global audiences to raise awareness, the mobile games are actually going directly to the people on the ground. So we're talking about girls and boys in India and Africa that are going to play those games. And in this case, talking about technology, we are going 5, 10 years back in terms of tech development. So we're going to develop it for Java phones because that's the dominant media that those kids have. Sometimes they don't have internet access, sometimes they don't have a landline, but they do have those mobile phones. The first game we're making is called Worm Attack, just to demonstrate. And intestinal worms is a huge issue in the developing world. It was a huge issue in the US 100 years ago as well, and it was solved. It's not only a health issue, it's also an education issue. Because if kids have worms in their belly, it's not only affecting their health, they're also less focused, they have less energy, and they won't go to school. And in the US, when it was solved, attendance in schools rise dramatically. So the idea of this game is very simple. It's a tower defense game. The worms are coming from the top of the screen, and the kids need to place the pills strategically to fight them and kill them. And the link is, the pills kill the worms. The solution is already there. Those are free pills. You only have to take them once or twice a year, and you're cured. Why they don't take them? Sometimes it's awareness. Sometimes it's, their parents are not encouraging them. What we hope with this game is to raise awareness and drive them to take the pills. Another one is 9 minutes. 9 minutes takes the 9 months of pregnancy, compresses it to 9 minutes of gameplay. Each minute is 11. Each minute equals 1 month. And it's all about the do's and don'ts of pregnancy. Why? Because it's a big issue in the developing world. Here it's very obvious for us that a pregnant girl or a woman will go to the doctor, will follow nutrition guidelines, but it's much more difficult in developing countries. Sometimes it's very far to go to the doctor, and the husband would tell his wife, why would we even bother? It's very expensive. This game is again about raising awareness about those things you need to do during the 9 minutes, 9 month pregnancy. And this is going to be launched in June in India and Africa. So back to reality. Welcome to Las Vegas. Welcome to the neon lights and the shiny hotels and the wealth and entertainment. If you could take one thing from my short presentation today, I hope it would be that when you walk at CES and the exhibitors and the booth, so So I'm not sure I'm going to, my marching order is really to do Occupy CES, where are the other 90%? But even if it's not that, just think about it. Think about how we can use our creative powers and invest in products and services that are actually using existing technologies. So I agree with everyone that the future is here. The future is definitely in the tablets and the smartphones and those high-end devices that our kids will learn with, and it will change the way they learn, it will change the way they communicate with each other, it will change the way they think about the world. But I also think the future is here. The future is how we can develop products and services to mobile devices, Java technology, going 5 years, 10 years back in the technology progression, to people that your app or your game might be the first time ever they play something like that. Thank you very much.